to life that it was called the fifth element. Its story is as old as the story of life on Earth. It has played a vital role in man's history, his religion, his customs. It has influenced the founding of cities and nations, shaped the fate of empires. The ancient Greeks worshipped it no less than the sun, and Plato called it a substance dear to the gods. In order to safeguard it, the Romans constructed one of the greatest military roads of all time. The lack of it brought disaster to Napoleon's legions in the historic retreat from Moscow, and thousands died. It played an important role in the war between the states. It is blood. According to mythology, the sky god struck fire into the heavens. A spark from the blaze fell here into the sea, creating the fifth element. Geologists tell us it found its way here, deposited by ancient. This is the white wonder, the element of the ancients. And this is how we know it best. This is salt. This pile of salt weighs 200 pounds, approximately the amount you will require to meet your everyday needs in a single year. Incredible? Yes, if you think of salt only for the table and cooking. Actually, only 3%, about 6 pounds, is used on your foods. That's all. About 6 pounds per person each year. Where then does the rest of it go? It touches every part of our lives, in many ways you've never thought about. How then does it serve us? The rest supplies the growing demands of American industrial and agricultural life. Modern industry, our modern way of life, could not exist without it. A noted scientist has said, give a chemist coal, water, lime, sulfur, cellulose, and salt, and he can perform nearly all the modern miracles in chemistry. To the chemist, salt is sodium chloride. With ordinary chemical processing, 13 vital chemicals are obtained. With electrolysis, salt can be broken down into its two elements, sodium and chlorine, and another 21 chemicals can be derived. Today, salt enters into almost 14,000 different uses. Let's look at a few. In the clothing you wear, salt is used in textile bleaches and dyestuffs, in medicines, in cosmetics, in nylons, in leather, in plastics, newspapers, in matches, ceramic glazes, tobacco, in photography. Salt helps purify that water, makes possible the glass from which you drink. Salt is used in paints and lacquers, in tires, gasoline, in alloys and bath solutions to obtain lighter and stronger metals, on land, and in the sky, in munitions for the defense of America. Salt is in that smokescreen. And here too, salt in tablet form helps these troops avoid heat exhaustion and prostration. Salt. How commonplace it seems. And yet, these tiny white grains represent a fundamental necessity of our existence. Nature made it abundant, but making it available is something else again. It takes time and skill. There are three methods of obtaining this vital mineral. First, let's examine the oldest, solar evaporation. It's often described as a farming operation, and it begins in the spring. You take salt water and direct it toward great concentrating ponds, where time, wind, sunshine, and careful controls take care of the rest. Impurities like calcium sulfate precipitate and settle out. The brine becomes more and more concentrated, and when tests show the brine has reached proper density, it is pumped into garden ponds. Month after month, under constant supervision, it crystallizes, builds up. Then comes the harvest. On it goes to the washing shed and further processing. Salt, for table use for example, must be rebrined and evaporated in vacuum pans. Other grades, after drying, screening, and packing, may eventually find their way into atomic energy. Or here. For salt plays an important part in the agricultural life of America too. Not only for its own essential properties, but as the logical carrier for vital trace elements: iodine, copper, cobalt, manganese, iron, zinc, and other minerals which may have been leached from the soil, hence are lacking from pasturage and grains. Minute amounts of those trace minerals are added here, in these salt blocks and salt bricks. And in loose salts, the color indicating which minerals have been added to replace local deficiencies. And because salt is required daily, it's the ideal medium by which to assure that farm animals get their full quota of trace minerals regularly. Poultry has an unusually heavy demand for manganese and other minerals for purposes of early growth and egg production. Here again, the necessary minerals are best introduced through salts mixed with feed. Trace mineralized salts, resulting in stronger, healthier animals, more and better foods for the table, assuring the farmer of a higher return from every feed dollar. The importance of salt to our nation's food supply is well illustrated here. There is salt for baking. A well-stocked cupboard, wouldn't you say? But take away those products that require salt, and let's see what would remain. has invented a host of seasonings: ketchup, mustard, chili sauce, Tabasco, mayonnaise, French dressing, Thousand Island, many others. Each requires its quota of salt. Salt for peanuts, for potato chips, for pretzels and candy. Salt for cereals, flour, olives, pickles, jams and jellies. Baby food, spaghetti, macaroni, noodles, salt for Rover's biscuits, and salt for food canning. Salt for dairy products. And since poultry and livestock need their quota of salt regularly, salt for the fisheries, salt for the meat packers. Salt goes into the making of plastics and aluminum foil too, paper cartons, glass. And since it entered into the manufacture of the refrigerator itself, salt for refrigeration, making it possible for us to obtain fresh meats, vegetables, and fruits all year round. Salt enters into many household uses too. Simple time-saving uses. A thin paste of salt and salad oil removes marks on furniture made by hot dishes. When enamel turns yellow, a solution of salt and turpentine rubbed on restores whiteness. A paste of salt and vinegar may be used to clean tarnished brass and copper. Sprinkling salt on carpets and rugs not only helps destroy moths, but brightens the colors as it cleans. Clothespins will not stick to clothes in cold weather if they are soaked in brine for a few hours. Rough spots on an iron disappear like magic when the iron is rubbed back and forth over dry salt. To clean grease from the bottom of an oven, salt is poured over soil spots while heat is still on. When grease is dried, salt is removed with a stiff brush. Ordinary table salt may be used as a decorative aid too in arranging artificial flowers. First, salt is poured into the vase, then cold water. When the salt dries, it solidifies and holds the flowers in a permanent arrangement. Hard water oftentimes means hardship for people who have to use it. Years ago, Grandmother caught dark rainwater in a barrel, used it for special household purposes because it was relatively soft, and so was the water she obtained from the cistern. But this water was hard. It came from the well, and that made all the difference. As rainwater falls toward earth, it picks up some carbon minerals and other impurities that turn it to a dark color when collected, in Grandmother's rain barrel, for example. However, it is still soft water. But what happens to this soft rainwater when it reaches the earth? It seeps through the ground or runs off into streams and rivers, and in doing so picks up calcium, magnesium, and perhaps iron and manganese, earth minerals that make it hard.